What if I told you a truck driver cracked the code to building a crypto empire? Meet Bitcoin Ben. He went from driving 18-wheelers to creating 6 different ways for regular people to stack Bitcoin and build wealth. This isn't just another crypto course. This is a complete ecosystem where you earn while you learn. First up, the confidential bulk purchase program. Get Bitcoin at wholesale prices through group buying power. Then there's Home to HODL. Convert your home equity directly into Bitcoin instead of cash. Need funding? The Loans for Bitcoin program gets you the capital to buy more crypto. Want passive income? Private Key Capital puts your Bitcoin to work. Hungry for something different? Bitcoin Ben's tokenized beef lets you invest in real cattle backed by blockchain technology. And if you want to mine? Bitcoin Ben's mining program gets you started with the right equipment and knowledge. But here's the kicker. Bitcoin Ben's Crypto Club pays you to learn. Earn 10% on direct referrals, 5% on second level, 2% on third level. This might be the only membership where you make more than you pay. Ben went from 10 years behind the wheel to becoming the world's most unlikely crypto expert. Now he's sharing everything through live training, community events, and proven systems that work. Ready to stop watching from the sidelines? Join Bitcoin Ben's Crypto Club today and start stacking sats while building your financial future. Your truck driving days are over. Your crypto empire starts now.
Good morning. Good morning. This is Jay, and a wonderful, wonderful Happy New Year to all our members, to my dear friends. Last week, I know it's the 15th of the month and perhaps a little bit belated, but a Happy New Year nonetheless. Last week, I was actually in a plane from El Salvador, and so I couldn't do the show, and Ben filled in for me, and I'm grateful for that. But you know, I've had a lot of time to reflect on the new year, on the year that has gone by, and the one thing that I have learned and observed over the course of last year, when I've interacted with so many of our amazing members, is that you all fully understand the most important things in the world, rarely announce themselves loudly. So today, what we're going to do is, it's not about hype, it's not about how great Bitcoin is, but today is really about, it's an infrastructure episode. I'm going to share with you where we are, where we're going in this new year with very tangible, accomplishments of the whole team, right from the top to the bottom. The team's been working extremely hard on all fronts across borders, So because as any movement matures, the conversation changes. And when infrastructure replaces ideology, you stop asking what and asking how. So it's no longer about what we are doing, why we're doing it, but how we are doing it. So now my focus is very much over how we are accomplishing the goals that we together have set up to explore. So over the past years, for example, we have talked about Bitcoin as being freedom money. We have talked about Bitcoin as sovereignty. We have talked about Bitcoin as a hedge. We have talked about Bitcoin perhaps as an escape hatch for many. But today I want to tell you and talk with you about Bitcoin as plumbing, as rails, Bitcoin as balance sheets, something more serious, something can be that we can trust with more responsibility. And when we do that, it attracts a tremendous amount of capital and growth starts to happen. Right? So this morning I was looking at, like everybody else, I'm looking at the prices, and it's 2026. Bitcoin's holding steady right between the 90 and 100,000 range. And what we have seen happening is very much institutional consolidation. We are witnessing a shift. We are witnessing over 200 public companies now globally are holding Bitcoin on their balance sheet. So this is not speculation. This is what we are going into, is a phase of what I'll call structural integration. driven by regulatory clarity, like the anticipated bipartisan crypto, the market structure legislation that's going to come out. And that changes a lot. It gives the confidence for investors, for builders, for dreamers, for entrepreneurs, for large public institutions to invest into this market. So if you're in for a hype today, you'll be disappointed because I believe the future is going to be built very deliberately, very quietly, with a lot of discipline. And that's exactly where we are right now in 2026. So let's begin. So, you know, first I'd like to give you some really great news. You know that there is a big difference between owning Bitcoin and integrating Bitcoin. Our credit union is now going to start accepting Bitcoin directly as a deposit in the savings account. So this is 15th of January. This was our target date to enable that functionality. Our developers have been working around the clock to build basically what is an Exodus-like wallet. Except we built that wallet, we own the code, it's more secure, and it's in an institutional holding. So Bitcoin, you have all owned Bitcoin as an act of conviction. But now we are integrating Bitcoin into your savings account. It becomes an act of responsibility. So as I formally announced today that we are going to be accepting Bitcoins into our credit union, this is not just a yield farm. It's not a gimmick. This is actual banking infrastructure that has been built. So what's going to happen now is, to answer your question, Jay, how do I put money into my savings account in Bitcoin? So tomorrow, which is a Friday, I spent late last night talking with the dev team and our operations team and making sure that our infrastructure was ready. So tomorrow, you're all the members who are already members of the credit union, which means you've gone through the KYC, you have opened your savings account, you all have your savings account number. We're only going to open to that initial group of people, about 100, 115 people who are currently members. Now, we will open this capability up to other members, but that's going to be about 30 days out. So right now, tomorrow, you will receive an email. And when I say you, it's the members who have already gone through the process and opened up your savings account in the credit union. That's what I'm targeting initially. It's a first rollout, okay? You'll receive an email which will carefully detail, clearly, conservatively, how we're going to be building things that last, how you're going to be putting your Bitcoin into the credit union. There's going to be a link. You're going to click that link. There'll be a video. You'll watch that video, how you need to go through that process. No different from any other wallet. You will be asked to get your 12 words. Now, please understand something, that when you start to go through that process, you'll be signing off on agreements, you'll be opening your wallet, and you'll be given your 12 words. But we have always remained true to the Bitcoin ethos, your keys, your money. So when you open this hot wallet, what I'll call the hot wallet, and I'll talk to you about the vault in just a moment, but when you open this hot wallet, you are the only person on this planet who has those keys. I'm going to repeat that again for you. This is the first wallet which is being held in a banking infrastructure that is purely owned by you. I will not have the second set of keys. So if you lose that key, you're going to lose your money because no one can open that vault. Why is that? Because the hot wallet is actually an on-chain wallet. It's SegWit. This is not Lightning. This is not some lightweight infrastructure. When you transfer your Bitcoin into your hot wallet, you're doing it directly on the Bitcoin blockchain using SegWit. And when you deposit that coin into your wallet, you are the only one who has the keys to that hot wallet. And you can use that hot wallet to deposit money into it, to send money from that hot wallet to any other Bitcoin account. So it is exactly like your custodial wallet. Self-custodial wallet, for example, you might have Exodus, where you are able to put Bitcoin, you're able to pay people, you're able to send money from that. It's no different. We have replicated that entire functionality, except it's now sitting inside the credit union. All right? So when you have that inside the credit union, we can now start to build products along with it with BTC as collateral. This wallet is going to be tied to your savings account. So when you receive the statements in the following month, your statement will reflect that you have a balance of, say, $5,000 in your fiat, and you have a balance of whatever, 1.2 Bitcoin in your savings account. And based on the last day of the month and the price of Bitcoin, it'll also say that's equivalent to, let's say, $100,000, right? $120,000. So the very first step is going to be tomorrow. The first members who are already members of the credit union will receive this email. You'll be given very detailed instructions. And I strongly recommend to you that when you create that wallet and you get your 12 words, please put those 12 words in a very safe place. And if you really want to be safe, close it in a FedEx envelope, and I'll give you instructions to send a copy to our West Palm Beach location, where we will store it inside a vault. And it'll stay completely secure, sealed in your FedEx envelope, should you choose to do that. That's up to you. But again, please understand that this is an architecture that gives you all the power. So you will have that wallet. You're the only one who has access to that wallet. And if you lose the keys, you will lose the money in that hot wallet. Okay? Now, once you establish your wallet and you have gone through the procedure and you have set up your wallet, all of you who have put money in the savings account and are owed interest, your interest that you have accrued over the last 4 or 5 months, whenever you put in your $5,000 at 4% annual rate, that interest is going to be delivered into your hot wallet in Bitcoin, just as Ben had promised. All right? So this is the first phase that we are going to go through and launch tomorrow. Now, what does this mean? This means that for the first 2 to 3 weeks, I want you each to get very comfortable and familiar with your wallet. This is your bank wallet. This is the mechanism through which you're going to move money in and out of your account. You'll be able to send Bitcoin to this address. It is your wallet. You have complete control over it, and no one else does. And you'll be able to send Bitcoin from that wallet if you wanted to make a payment to someone else in Bitcoin. That's the first step, okay? So this is going to be launched tomorrow. Now, what is the advantage of doing this? Within 2 to 3 weeks, we're going to start to create new products. What is the first new product that you're going to get? The first product is going to be a vault. What is the vault? The vault is very akin to a CD in a bank, in a savings account. What you will be able to do is transfer whatever amount of Bitcoin that you have in your hot wallet into your vault. The hot wallet is your operational wallet. You can use it for everyday things. But when you take a chunk of that money, let's say $100,000, and move it into your vault, you will be asked to pick one of the two options. You have to either lock it in for 6 months at 3.5% or lock it in for 12 months for 4% interest rate, right? So this is Bitcoin that normally sitting in your Exodus wallet would not get you interest. But when you move it in the vault and you lock it in for a period of time, just like a CD, 6 months or 12 months, you will start to accrue interest on that amount. This hot wallet is really, this is not the hot wallet, the vault is really a new product. So all of the money that flows into your hot wallet, the very first product is going to be a savings product. So when you put it in the vault is very secure. You can directly access your vault. You can directly move money from your vault. The vault will have 2 keys. One of the keys will be held by you, and one of the keys will be held by us as the credit union, the master key. And we can move money out of that until both signatures are done for that duration of time. So what this allows us to do is to lock that money in for a certain period of time so that we can start to give loans against it. Not only to generate revenue for the credit union, but also pay you the interest. And yes, you will be able to take loans yourself with new products against your own Bitcoin, and I'll get to that in just a minute. So the very first product that we're launching, to be clear, is the hot wallet, where you'll be able to move money in and out. The very next product that we'll be launching will be the savings product, which is the vault, which is going to be within 2 to 3 weeks, and you'll be able to start generating interest in that vault. And very shortly after that, I don't want to go a whole lot about our product roadmap yet till we start delivering these, but will be a product that will allow you to transfer from your hot wallet and convert your Bitcoin into fiat and fiat into Bitcoin. So that engine that'll go between your savings account and your hot wallet is going to be the next product that comes after that. So in other words, once you have set up your account, you'll be able to transfer Bitcoin directly into your hot wallet. From the hot wallet, you can move it to the vault, or you can move it into fiat if you so choose, or keep it in your hot wallet. All right? So this is all being done with the right amount of caveats. There's a lot of regulatory requirements that we need to go through, that we are going through right now. So bear with us. So even when you open your hot wallet, or even when you open your vault account for your savings of Bitcoin, native Bitcoin savings, and by the way, that Bitcoin remains as Bitcoin in your separate wallet. So if Bitcoin goes up in price, that's all your appreciation. Plus you keep getting the interest on that value. So the interest also amplifies as Bitcoin goes up. So it's a really powerful product, right? So it's very, very important that there are some steps. There's a form that you'll need to download. You'll need to sign it, and then you'll need to upload it. So there's a few details, but these are requirements of the bank. So why does this matter? Why are we doing this? See, Bitcoin is no longer a speculative object. It is something that you hold. It's something that you hold generationally. It's not just something you'll trade or think that this is just going to go up in value. The real value is this vault starts to become your personal treasury. It starts to become your personal balance sheet. You will never have to sell that Bitcoin that you have in your vault. You will be able to unleash the potential of that Bitcoin, the value of that Bitcoin, and get credit. You'll be able to get credit in USDT. You'll be able to get credit in US dollars. You can use that credit to buy a business. You can use that credit to start something new. You can use that credit to invest into your cash flow. But that Bitcoin sitting there is generational. Just like institutions are putting and they respect the value of Bitcoin on their balance sheet, I want each one of you to start building your own balance sheet. And credit unions are the right place to start for it. Think of the word credit union. It's a union of us members And we are able to get credit against the value that we are creating. This is not some Wall Street bank with 300 layers of leverage. This is not Goldman Sachs going and levering up 30 times to 1 and investing in all kinds of crazy products. Kind of like offshore casinos pretending to be financial institutions. No. The credit union exists for members. There's a reason why there's a distinction between a bank and a credit union. Structurally, credit union aligns with long-term thinking, long-term credit for its members. We don't need to gamble to survive. See, Bitcoin is value. And the credit union is consolidating that value. And once we consolidate that value in very secure Bitcoin blockchain-based wallets, the security of the bank, how secure is this credit union? This credit union is as secure as the Bitcoin network itself. Because the credit union's ledger, the credit union's wallet, sits on a Bitcoin node. The ledger is the Bitcoin ledger. It's not some separate database that we are creating. It literally is within the Bitcoin blockchain architecture. So what are we trying to do by doing this, right? Critics have always argued that Bitcoin is volatile. You know what volatility is, right? Bitcoin goes up and down in price at a faster rate than perhaps another commodity. But here's what Bitcoin does show. Yes, Bitcoin is volatile, but we at the credit union are solving that problem. How are we solving that problem? We are solving that problem because we perceive and we see and we understand that Bitcoin is a store of value. Michael Saylor has drilled that into society, that Bitcoin is a store of value. Now, once you have a store of value and we can start to give credit against that store of value, which is exactly what a credit union does, what it allows us to do is convert that volatility into a consistent stream of cash flow. Because what happens when we give out a loan? When we give out a loan, that loan is being repaid back every single month. Interest plus principal. That's a consistent cash flow, because that cash flow does not depend on volatility of Bitcoin. It depends on a farmer farming on his farm. It depends on a rancher who's buying cattle. It depends on a commercial real estate developer who's building a building and collecting rents. It depends on commercial companies that have products that they're selling. They're taking loans to expand their business. In return, they're giving us a consistent cash flow. So let's say I have $10 million of deposits that come into our credit union. I can lend out $8 million of it and convert that into a consistent cash flow. So if next month the price of Bitcoin goes up or down, volatility, I am not as concerned because my cash flow is consistent. I'm still going to collect all of the different monthly payments that we have lent out to. So we have basically removed the volatility by diversifying the loan portfolio. That's what the credit union is doing. In addition, you should always have this Bitcoin because Bitcoin has a very low correlation to traditional assets. It's only about 20% correlated to stocks, making it a very strong diversification tool. Wealth and sovereign funds understand that. Harvard's endowment fund understands that. So we are far beyond hype at this point. We are now building an architecture and we are building an infrastructure that allows Bitcoin to truly become a mainstay. It becomes a part of your personal balance sheet. It becomes a part of creating and servicing your liquidity needs. It becomes a part of a technology that can actually shape how our lending and borrowing is going to happen in this new ecosystem. It is no longer based on subjective whims and fancies of the Fed to decide what rate they're going to lend at. You're lending against the hardest money there is, the 21 million coins. As Ben was a very astute observation he made the other day, and I'm not sure if he's shared it on one of his shows, but I'll take the liberty of sharing that insight and giving full credit to Ben for that. He said, Jay, think about it. The cost of energy has been dropping. And as AI starts to come to bear, and as new types of energy sources are discovered, eventually leading to Tesla energy, eventually leading to superconductors storing infinite energy, what's going to happen is energy is going to become plentiful. Energy is going to become cheaper and cheaper till in its absolute sense, it's going to go to absolute zero, just like temperature goes to absolute zero. And when energy becomes infinitely available and easily accessible, what do you think will store value? If you think gold stores value, you could put, if energy was free, I could put 100 more diggers in a mountainside and generate another 10 billion, 100 billion, 500 billion dollars worth of gold. And the supply would go up and the price would go down. So gold would not hold value. The same thing goes for silver. The same thing goes for any commodity or any asset that can be printed or that can be mined with infinite energy. If you keep putting energy towards something, it's going to be, we'll get more of it, except Bitcoin, right? I can put all the energy in the world. I could have free energy, but if I have only 21 million coins, mathematically structured in that way, there's nothing you can do about it. So it changes the entire economics of quote unquote supply and demand, because there is no supply. It's fixed. Just demand, right? Not to digress, I'm underscoring the importance of Bitcoin in building infrastructure. Not a hype, not whether Bitcoin up, Bitcoin down. The vault that we are building is a cold storage. It's a storage for your value for generations. This is not to be taken casually. This is not a move that we are making with an emotional, I'm going to just get 4%. No, this is far more than that. Let me be very clear. You see, people lose Bitcoin when they confuse convenience with security. We don't confuse the two. We've got the hot wallet, we've got the convenience, you can move Bitcoin around, but safety lives in the vault. That is your balance sheet. That separation that we have created architecturally, it's not optional. It was a non-negotiable for me. It's a hard architecture. I had to fight with the developers to get this thing to be just the way we need it, because I see it as survival. I see it as long-term survival, because this is where you build from. This is your well from which you draw credit from. So we have incorporated the best practices of being regulatorily compliant. We have created the structures for safety and security. We have created the structure for self-custody, tools that highlight the risk of a centralized system, and the failures of centralized systems have been addressed. We have reinforced the idea of decentralization. We have reinforced the idea of your keys, your money. And we have reinforced the idea that you can have provable control, complete transparency from the regulatory side, and complete privacy from the member side. And this is the balance that finding has not been easy. But tomorrow's email will walk you through it. Tomorrow, this email that you get will show you how the deposit works, what the initial limits are, what the operational windows look like, what the phased rollout is going to be like. We're not rushing this. We are very excited to introduce this first product, which will be the hot wallet. Now imagine the millions of dollars companies like Exodus and others have spent in just building a wallet. The wallet that we have built is equal to and more than all of those. And it is fully integrated into a banking ledger system, into the treasury system, into the general ledger. No other wallet in the world does that today. You have custodial wallets and non-custodial wallets, but you don't have self-custodied wallets within the banking infrastructure, which is completely decentralized and integrated in with your savings account and your general ledger system, which you can take credit against. These are future plans. I'm not trying to tease you. I'm not trying to hype you. I'm simply telling you, promises made, promises kept. We are launching this. You guys have been patient, but understand what we have built and what we are continuing to build is infrastructure. These are bridges, roads, and tunnels. This is not hype. It takes time. These are collateralized structures. Based on this foundation, we're going to be building credit products. You're going to have treasury-style member benefits. So we can't go ahead and deploy. Everybody wants everything yesterday. It doesn't work like that. We're doing it step by step. We're doing it methodically. We're adding depth. We're adding features. We're going to align with Bitcoin-backed lending, 12 to 15%. But they're going to be structures that you'll be able to avoid capital gains in. So really exciting. I'm going to take a quick commercial break here. I'm going to come back and tell you about a second really exciting thing that's happening with our clubs. So be right back after these messages. For years, banks promised innovation, but they gave us fees and friction and fine prints. Today, all that changes. Introducing Private Key Bank from Bitcoin Ben's Crypto Club, the world's first Bitcoin native credit union. Rebuilt from the ground up in the heart of El Salvador, a place where your Bitcoin isn't just stored, it grows. Earn 4% interest paid in Bitcoin, compounded, secured, and accessible. No middlemen, no hidden games, just your money working for you. Send funds across borders instantly, without SWIFT codes, without currency conversions. Pay anyone, anywhere, with a tap of a finger. This isn't banking as usual. This is freedom, beautifully engineered. The future of finance is finally here. And we're back. So there is another very exciting update that's happening with our clubs, and I wanted to give you an update on that. We are actually going to be rebranding all of our clubs as private key clubs. That's the brand around which we're doing. Now, of course, any movement begins with people, but it takes institutions to endure the identity. See, Bitcoin Ben has created this incredible movement, this incredible identity. He has been the spark and the heart and soul of the Bitcoin Ben crypto clubs. But now, as personalities start movements, you need systems that sustains that movement. Private key is the brand around which we will be this year in 2026. We're going to be rebranding all of our clubs as Private Key clubs. So it'll be Private Key Nashville, Private Key Sarasota, Private Key Boston, and so on and so forth. This is not a rejection of the past. It's a maturation of it. Now, as we start to build around the Private Key identity, so Private Key clubs, Private Key Capital, Private Key Credit Union, Private Key Resorts, our brand will start to amplify. Now, very specifically for the clubs, we already started making this transition as a test to see how this transition will go in Nashville. So Nashville has already made the transition from Bitcoin Ben Crypto Club to Private Key Nashville, right? And it has not all been smooth and natural and effective, as much as I'd like to say that. There are things that we're learning in that process. There are so many, 100 little operational details, legal details, financial details that we need to go through to make that transition happen. So rebranding is never an easy effort, but sometimes it is a necessary effort. Now, the term private key says everything that we stand for. Private key, you all are Bitcoiners, you understand it. It stands, in my mind, for sovereignty. Private key, your wallet, right? So private key, I've got it on my hat here. I always wear it proudly. It signifies responsibility. If you hold the keys, you have responsibility. It signifies ownership. And it signifies irreversibility. Private keys. To me, this name speaks to builders, it speaks to entrepreneurs, it speaks to professionals, for people who don't need a bear mascot. They don't need a mascot. They need to understand value. Nothing else changes. Same people, same culture that we started with, same values. But it's a name that can now scale globally without a whole lot more explanation. Private Key Capital, Private Key Clubs. Branding is not something that is unique just to us. We have seen so many significant companies rebrand themselves because the times changed, because the Bitcoin ecosystem is fast evolving. And to be relevant in that fast evolving global ecosystem, our name needs to be something that we can tell people and they get it immediately without additional explanation, without additional hype, without additional, effort. We're not going to dilute our original focus of why Ben started building this. But what this new name and new branding will allow us to do is to endure the regulatory and the market shifts that are going to be coming. Now, Nathan Kirby is leading that effort. Our team here is working around the clock to do a phased rollout of this, and we hope that within the next 6 to 8 months, we will be able to complete the rebranding so that all of our clubs will be under the Private Key Club name. All of our different assets that we are investing into will be under the Private Key branding. We're working with law firms and legal companies to structure all of this in the right manner. That gives us a foundation. That gives us a strong foundation from which we can continue to build. We can continue to invest with trust, with transparency, and with success. Those are the goals that are being set out, and that's the effort that is being undertaken. So I hope you all will be a big part of this, and as this transformation gets completed, you will see the amplification of the brand, you will see the partnerships that are coming to bear, and you'll be proud of being members of the Private Key clubs, right? So let's talk a little more about 2026. So these are big giant moves on the chessboard. But let's just, look at a little bit more about Bitcoin without the noise. Now, in our view, Bitcoin no longer needs evangelists. My view is that enough evangelism has been done. Enough hype has been done. What Bitcoin now needs is operators. It needs builders. Whether or not Bitcoin will survive, that question is already over. We already know the answer to that. We're beyond that phase. So I think 2026 marks that turning point where we are beyond that evangelism phase. Now we build. Bitcoin integrates into energy. Bitcoin integrates into banking. Bitcoin integrates into governance. Quietly, relentlessly, without asking for permission. The loud phase is ending. The serious phase has just begun. We're not going to debate the benefits of Bitcoin anymore. We're going to actually talk about risk models. We're going to talk about accounting treatments. We're going to talk about energy sourcing. We're going to talk about custody and beneficial ownership. This is not an ideological adoption. This, ladies and gentlemen, is the sound of inevitability. As clearer regulations take off in the United States in 2026, I fully expect regulatory clarity to start to come, which means U.S.-based credit unions will be able to take Bitcoin as well. And when that happens, we will be ready. We'll have a leg up because of our El Salvadorian experience. See, we already have had about $87 billion in ETFs seeing inflows, in the last year into Bitcoin inflows. Treasuries are now passing regulations to and mandates to put 5% of the treasury into Bitcoin supply, right? But this has to be built. So our investment focus for 2026 as private key club members is going to be very narrow, and it's going to be narrow by design. The two areas we're going to focus on with absolute focus, with certainty. One is going to be the Bitcoin energy to Bitcoin conversion. So that's a big area of focus for 2026. Energy is a hugely regulated market that is going to undergo significant shifts, and Bitcoin is going to have a disruptive impact on that market. We want to be ready to create cash flows from energy infrastructure. We want to be ready also on the other side, which is the banking side, the regulated banking side, which is the second area of focus. So we have already made that effort with this credit union. Custody, credit rails, systems that can survive stresses, liquidity tests, not hype. We're not chasing meme cycles. We're not trying to play games of leverage, put in your Bitcoin, we'll lever it 10 times and we'll go long, we'll go short. We're not looking for short-term dopamine. We're looking to build infrastructure that can survive the stresses and strains of an exploding system. The adoption rate is going to continue to grow. And as exciting as it sounds, and the dollar signs, the Bitcoin signs start coming in your eyes, Bitcoin rewards patience. It actually punishes arrogance. And we're going to structure accordingly. We're going to expand in a very deliberate, methodical manner of what integration of energy means to our platform. What we are building and have started building is what I term as a energy money platform. energy integration to produce Bitcoin, Bitcoin to treasury, treasury to stable coins that we will be creating ourselves, and from there into credit. Energy is not just a grid stabilizer. In credit unions like ours, we are seeing Bitcoin now as a reserve asset. Right? And we believe this reserve asset is going to grow. I mean, the skeptics are warning of headwinds for Bitcoin in 2026, but again, we don't want to be crystal ball gazers, but I am starting to build models for our infrastructure business with the Bitcoin price range of $125,000 to $175,000 for 2026. I mean, is that what's going to happen? I don't know. But when you build these models and when you actually start to build infrastructure, there are assumptions you have to make. That's just a part of how you manage risk. That's a part of how you plan for cash flows. So in my models, I'm sharing with you that I am taking a range about $120,000, $130,000 to $175,000 on the upper end and $130,000 on the lower end for building my models. Now, why am I building that in that range? Because I think that's conservative. Okay, so that's the focus. The energy monetary platform is what private key capital is going to be about. It's a large undertaking. We are dancing between two very large regulatory segments of global monetary business. One is called the energy business, which is a huge regulated market, and the other is called banking, which is a huge regulated market. But Bitcoin is going to have an impact on both of those markets, and we are positioning ourselves right in between those two to create change, because we don't expect change to come fast enough from regulated entities. We can play in the middle. We can still play in the regulated environment, sandboxes, but we can also innovate and we can move quickly, kind of like the little destroyer that can move and shift direction quickly rather than the aircraft carrier. So there's an advantage to doing that. We want to be that destroyer. We want to be that disruptive force because there's benefit to all of us. And finally, not an operational update, but just a heads up. There's the last thing that I'll tell you today before I close out this show. West Palm Beach is coming along very nicely. We have been working hard. We've got new carpets. We're getting repainting done. We're getting the new West Palm Beach, private key club ready. We think early February will be our soft launch. This is very strategic. So because that is also going to be the headquarters of Private Key Capital, where I will be spending most of my time. And so West Palm Beach is a hub of capital. Frankly, it has tremendous wealth. There's also institutional wealth there. There are also energy companies based there. Some of the largest, Florida's energy company is right in that neighborhood, which powers all of Florida. We have access to decision makers and influencers in West Palm Beach. So I think that is, this is not a societal move. This is not a social club. It's a serious execution move, a move that I'm personally committing to that shift. I will be spending my time there, working out of there, and building out the new management team for Private Key Capital over there. So with these additional, with this focus in 2026, I just want you to know that I will be doing this show once a month, not weekly. Not because I'm stepping back, but because I'm actually stepping forward and really starting to focus on the building of this infrastructure, which is going to take a lot of my energy and a lot of my time. We're going to have new energy projects. We're building a brand new platform the world has never seen. We're building infrastructure that doesn't need commentary. It needs to be assembled now. This bridge needs to be put together. So you'll still see me, you'll still hear from me, and you'll certainly have access to me. But I'm going to focus with more signal and less noise. So my focus is now going to be very, very much towards taking private key capital and building out our balance sheet, building out our treasury, building out our energy monetary platform. So 2026 is going to be very much focused on institutional capital, institutional boom, where places like West Palm Beach will facilitate that high level of dialogue, right? There's a reason we bought the old PNC Bank building over there. Not bought, but leased it out for 10 years. It's the old bank building. It's almost a reflection of the change that's happening in a very visceral manner. Here's this building that used to be owned by PNC Bank is now owned by the Bitcoin guys. The same lockers with the 2 feet thick steel doors that used to keep fiat money now houses Bitcoin servers and passkeys, right? So let me close with this. Trends are loud, hype is loud, but architecture and infrastructure is quiet. Trends will come and go, but the infrastructure we are building will remain. It's generational. So tomorrow, for all the members who have already become, who were the early adopters, read your email carefully, understand what we are building, and understand why we are doing it so deliberately. This is not about speed, it's about permanence. I believe that this year in 2026, 25 to 30% of the Americans will own some form of crypto. And therefore, institutions, not individuals, will drive that narrative. Our approach is to become institutionalized. Our approach is to be resilient against the cycles. Thank you for trusting us with your courage, with your commitment to Bitcoin, with your commitment to the Bitcoin Ben Club, soon to be private key clubs. Thank you for thinking long term. And thank you for being a part of building this with us. Remember, we don't need to shout to be powerful. We need to come together and build something that'll be there long after you and I are gone. God bless you, and God bless America.
What if I told you a truck driver cracked the code to building a crypto empire? Meet Bitcoin Ben. He went from driving 18-wheelers to creating 6 different ways for regular people to stack Bitcoin and build wealth. This isn't just another crypto course. This is a complete ecosystem where you earn while you learn. First up, the confidential bulk purchase program. Get Bitcoin at wholesale prices through group buying power. Then there's Home to HODL. Convert your home equity directly into Bitcoin instead of cash. Need funding? The Loans for Bitcoin program gets you the capital to buy more crypto. Want passive income? Private Key Capital puts your Bitcoin to work. Hungry for something different? Bitcoin Ben's tokenized beef lets you invest in real cattle backed by blockchain technology. And if you want to mine? Bitcoin Ben's mining program gets you started with the right equipment and knowledge. But here's the kicker. Bitcoin Ben's Crypto Club pays you to learn. Earn 10% on direct referrals, 5% on second level, 2% on third level. This might be the only membership where you make more than you pay. Ben went from 10 years behind the wheel to becoming the world's most unlikely crypto expert. Now he's sharing everything through live training, community events, and proven systems that work. Ready to stop watching from the sidelines? Join Bitcoin Ben's Crypto Club today and start stacking sats while building your financial future. Your truck driving days are over. Your crypto empire starts now.